Cool. Hi, my name is Shareif Kholeif. I am a fourth year Intercal Sports and Exercise Medicine student, and I am currently the captain of the Muay Thai club and GUSA finance convener, and I'm also looking to run for the position of vice president this year.
Nice to meet you, Shareif.
Nice to meet you.
So firstly, how do you feel you've performed as a finance convener, and how do you think those skills could translate into your role as vice president?
I think I did quite a good job. I had a lot of manifesto points set out this year, and I think I'd like to say that I fulfilled most of them where I could, and I've been told that I've done a good job. So I think with the role of finance, it's so involved in GUSA as an organisation, and it's a weekly role. So every week I'm sitting and I'm going through club finances, so I know roughly what clubs request, where they need money, etc. So I think going into next year, using that background, I have a strong kind of foundation to support the next finance convener, but also the GUSA president next year, who currently has no finance backgrounds in terms of council roles.
Okay. So you mentioned a bit in your manifesto about the solid platform of ideas regarding finance. So
Yep.
could you say a bit about those? Maybe?
Yeah, so one thing is I've actually worked on both sides. So I've been on GUSA Council, but I've also worked in nightclubs. I've worked for Viper for a couple of years. I used to run Thursday nights before Hive opened, and so I know how both clubs work. And one thing I want to do is work on, so I've been developing a sponsorship benefit guideline this year with like X amount of things that this is what you should expect from your club sponsor, this is what they should ask for in return, and a few things I want to do is implement things that like really are for the GUSA clubs. For example, we want like our semester 1 payments by this date, or semester 2, because I know that not with the current Viper establishment, but with the last one, with the G1 group, there's a lot of money that was unfortunately went amiss because we didn't get the money in time.
Okay. So you've set out quite a big workload for yourself in your manifesto.
Yeah.
Do you feel okay about managing all of that?
Yeah, so in terms of projects, for the first kind of pre-summer, it was when I was going to look at tackling kind of the discrimination aspect and sport and gender, like with policies and gender discrimination. And then as well as that, like the finance thing, I'm currently working on it, so it'll just be a continuation of my project, which is actually almost near completion. It just needs approval from a couple of things. And then post the summer is when I've focused like entirely on GUSA Ball. I've managed to do a couple of things this year, but next year I'm just going to focus entirely on the role of vice president.
Okay. So there's even more GUSA affiliated clubs set to join the association next year.
Right.
Do you think that is going to be a huge workload, and is that going to be possible to manage that as well as?
Yeah. So I mean, with the term, like the position of vice president, it's mostly the GUSA Ball is the main focus. So my what I can do for the new clubs is to try to make sure that everyone gets to the GUSA Ball and they're fairly represented. So I'm trying to think of ways around that, either exploring more suitable venues or looking at the possibility of after-dinner tickets, just to make sure that no clubs suffer in terms of number, but also including new clubs as much as possible. In terms of the new clubs coming in, that's a support role that would be mainly the president, and the finance obviously would have to control their finances, but I think it would be a team effort, and I'd be willing to chip in any way that I could.
Okay. So how do you think you're going to implement an LGBTQ+ strategy, and how do you think that's going to influence other universities and other sports clubs?
Yeah, so I have been speaking to the president of the LGBTQ+ community, and also the trans officer. I've spoken to some athletes, and the way I'm looking at it right now is formulating a sort of like maybe a PowerPoint with testimonials, like kind of arguments, taking bits of like scientific research and looking at like policies internationally in terms of like Olympic committees and stuff, and using that to email and challenging the policies of individual national governing bodies. And hopefully when we start doing that, if other universities haven't, then we can like join suit, and it can be basically stop getting lazy and let's make it happen kind of thing.
So currently there's a lot of struggling and less successful clubs who are really struggling to cope with the limited funds they get. So how are you going to improve conditions for those clubs? Yeah,
so that's a big thing, is like in terms of finance, it's really hard to improve funds for other clubs without like the university core actually granting us more money. It's obviously every year is something that the president will go in like the budget proposal, they propose it to university and say we need X amount of money and what we'll get back. But like one thing that I've been particularly focusing on is whenever I talk to clubs, I start suggesting ways that they can raise money, and I'll help them with that. So maybe it's bake sales or charity runs for where the whole team takes part and they make up a Just Giving page or whatever. So if we can't get it from the University Court grant, I would work with them to find other strategies of getting money for them. And one thing I've been doing is I've been going to speak to as many clubs as possible, even the little ones, and I've been pestering them with emails like, we want to engage you and stuff, so just give me a chat, and going around and just finding out the problems.
Okay. Finally, how do you know you will have achieved the main aims and objectives of the role, as well as your additional ambitions and plans by the end of the year?
By the end of next year? I mean, I usually, if everything in my manifesto, if I put every little bit of my effort into it and it goes through and that's good, that's good in one sense, but also I'd love to be involved in other projects with other committees and other conveners. If I can help them and like step out my role as well as do my own thing, that's when I've kind of been fulfilled in terms of what I've done. I don't like to like rest on a project. If I'm done with one, I'll move on and keep going until I'm out of time.
Okay, thank you very much. That was great.
Cheers, thank you.
Right,